So hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K of the Demetra K Show, and I'm sitting here with my partner in crime, Donovan. Let's see what his name is today. It's still the recovering Democrat.
I am still recovering.
And so the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we're great, but we can always be better. And so Donovan and I like to have a really, I don't know how intellectual it'll be, but it'll be some intellect thrown in there, a discussion about whatever topic we're going to discuss. And so today we're going to talk about single motherhood in the Black community. What's making it worse, and is it being glorified? So
hot topic.
Started.
Hot topic. Hot. You guys, thank you guys for joining us again. If you're watching the video cast as well as the Demetra, if you're listening to the Demetra K podcast, do us a favor: like, share, subscribe, and it's so important. Share it on your platform. We got to get the word out and get the knowledge out and spread the knowledge of just our basic thoughts. Because one of the biggest problems that we have had, generation to generation, is, and you will find this out, Demetra, and you might agree or disagree. Our older folks do not pass on the information to the younger folks, and thus lack of knowledge leads us to the situations some of us are in to this very day. So, yeah.
So absolutely, we are going to get into it. And if Donovan didn't already, if y'all could please like and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, we'd greatly appreciate it. And we also have a Cash App. If you want to donate to what we consider ourselves to be new Black media, where you are going to get information that you're not going to get on Fox News, CBS, NBC, any of those other mainstream channels that are going to give you the watered down version of Black America, if you will, and around the world. And so we're going to give it to you from our point of view, real Black people. We're going to give it to you from our point of view. And so it does incur a cost here. And every little bit that you donate does help. And thank you for the channel members and people who donate on a regular basis. We love and appreciate you dearly. All right. And so today we're going to have a discussion about single motherhood in the Black community. Now, there's been a couple of people, I guess, little celebrities, because that's what we see most immediately, right? Unless it's somebody we know. We all know a single Black mama. And, I was one of them. But I want to make a difference between a single Black mama and a single Black woman when we get into this discussion. But most notably, we've seen Rihanna and her boyfriend, A$AP Rocky. Now, of course, Rihanna is a billionaire. And so I don't know if she really necessarily counts in a larger spectrum of things, but maybe she does, because she is very influential. And from what we know, and I want to say from what we know, because she may be married and just feel like it's nobody's business to tell us that she's married. But the other thing that we, I guess, could speculate is that she's not married. And so there's been this discussion going around about the glorification of single motherhood, especially in the Black community. As we also know, single mothers in the Black community range to about 70%. They say it's gone down a little bit, but it's still roughly about the same. It's also said that single mothers in the Black community that are in poverty, about 25%. I don't know about that number.
No, that number is totally off.
Yeah, it could be more depending on, what they're describing as poverty. And so that to the counterpart of white women, and now so listen to this. This is where it's going to get tricky, right? If you know a little bit about statistics, and I really don't, but I understand it to this degree.
I do. Gotta be in it.
White women are single moms to the tune of, I want to say it was 60%. Now, yes, it is more white women that are single, but there's more of them in population. There's about 65 million of them, 65% of white people. And so white women probably make up about half of that, I guess, give or take. And so disproportionately, Black women are single more, because it's about 42 million, I'm sorry, let me get my numbers right. We make up about 42% of the
wow.
Yeah. Hold on. Okay, you know what happened was
42% of 14.
Right. So when I blow dry my afro, I think I fried my brain too. So let me slow down a little bit, because I tend to talk fast. So actually, we are about 12 to 14% of the population, depending on what numbers you believe. And so with white women and being in a group of 60-something% of the population, to that of Black women being a group of about 14% of the population, disproportionately is where we're coming from, where they say there are more single Black women than there are other races of people. And they said that Asians are least likely to be single moms and least likely to be in poverty. And so there's a lot to that, right? And so we're going to have a discussion about is single Black motherhood being glorified. Also, I don't know what she does, but her name is Amara La Negra, and she was on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta or something like that. She's a very, 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 very dark-skinned Dominican Republic sister, and she is pregnant with twins. And so I read an article where it says that she's deciding to be a single mom like her mom was. Now, she had a boyfriend, but for whatever reason, they didn't work out. And so she said she's just chosen to go it alone. And then I guess if the father wants something to do with the kids or whatever in the future, that's fine. But right now she's choosing, and those are the words she used, she's choosing to be a single mother like her mom did. And so when I read that, I was like, wow, you choosing that?
Right,
okay.
Wait. Can I ask you a question real quick? You made a statement that she said that if the father chooses to be with in the children's life, that's fine. Is that something that she said, or was it alleged to that?
No, she said that. It was in an interview, I guess she gave, and she said that, if he chooses to be in because she's having twins, the children's life. But again, I think it should be said that she has means more than an average single mother would. When I say average, somebody who's probably working a 9 to 5, she has a little bit more resources than that woman. So maybe.
Right. But did you pick up in that statement how she is in control?
Yeah, I mean, but I think we also got to concede the point that if a woman is carrying a baby, she's in control. And I'm not saying, she's in control because it's her body and the babies are with her. So, I mean, if she is that way, then he doesn't have any say so.
Right. But, as a man, why would you make that statement? Stop speaking for him. See what I'm saying? She has this, a lot of women in this country have that mentality to where you're speaking for these men. To me, in an interview like that, she shouldn't say anything in regards to the father and what he will or will not do, because it kind of puts a negative light on him. Like, oh, well, niggas might not ever be here,
Well, again, she didn't get into why.
Right.
She just said they didn't work out or whatever. But
what I'm saying is the statement that, oh, he will, if he chooses to be here or be not here, she shouldn't have even made that statement.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he doesn't want to be there, so maybe that's why she said that. Maybe he said something to her. So it's kind of hard to speculate. What their conversation was about. Maybe he said, "I don't want those kids."
Right. But what I'm saying is, in the interview, don't even bring it up. Let him speak for himself.
I mean, I guess, but it's really her. It was her interview, her choice, So,
but what I'm trying to tell you as a man, that's a control mechanism.
Yeah, I mean, it probably is, but again, not to get into that, but back and forth about it. But you don't know why she's saying that. Maybe he told her, "I don't want to be involved with the kids." That's not unusual, And
then if that's the case, then say that, but don't say, well, if he decides to come in or not. It's a control mechanism. Basically, a lot of women speak for men. And then later on down the road, you find out that is not the case.
I mean, I will concede that. And so we want to have a conversation here as to, is there glorification of a single mom? So I will speak first because I happen to have been what some people will say a single mom. Now, let me make a difference here. There is a difference between a single mom and a single woman with kids, okay? Now, a single mom is somebody who is doing it all on her own. There is no help from the father. Now, I'm not even counting that she has help from the grandmamas and all that. I'm talking about the father. A single mama, let me finish. A single mama has no help from the other part of the equation, which would be the father who helped create that child, okay? A single
What about
woman,
Uncle Sugar?
Huh?
What about Uncle Sugar?
Well, if Uncle Sugar is the daddy, then, but a single woman with a child is a mom who has the father of the children that's involved in the life. Now, when I say involved, spending time with the kids, spending, financial resources on the kids, and is completely involved in raising that child, which is true for a lot of cases, especially in the Black community, because Black men get the false stigma of, oh, he's a deadbeat dad, the Black man is a deadbeat, but Black men have been proven to be more involved in the lives of their children than any other race of man. Now, he may not live in the home with the child, but he still is involved with the child, like visiting and child support and all those type of things. And so there's a difference between being a single mama, raising the kids by yourself without the man, and a single woman with kids, who has obviously a kid, but there's help from that father. So I think once people really know the difference, then they'll say, oh, okay, then I'm a single woman, just like he's a single man with a kid. Because the mom is there helping raise the child. Because when you say somebody's a single mama, automatically, what do you think about? Oh, the daddy left. Oh, the daddy ain't there. Oh, she's doing it all by herself. So, what say you?
I'll tell you what. When I see a single mother, I usually think of, and this is what I think of, hood rat. That's exactly what I think of. I think of hood rat. Because in a lot of situations like that, women that have less means are more likely to be single mothers in most cases, economically, because a lot of women that are getting their PhDs and, they're doing things. And I'm sorry, you're asking me how I see it. There's single mothers out there, and I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but they will put their careers before they will put family first. So their mindset is, my career is what I'm married to. I'm about self before anything else. But I agree with you. Not all single mothers are hood rats, and that ain't what I'm saying that they all. But I'm just saying when I think of that, that's what I think of, because that's what I see in the media. That's what I see on TV. That's what I see at Walmart. I see these women with bonnets and pajamas and just, multiple kids all around them. Everybody's entitled to make a mistake or just, do their thing. But that's what I think of when I think of a single mother.
So because the kind of stuff I hear you describing is more of a negative connotation.
Yeah,
it's single motherhood.
Right, and you also got to figure this too. We always forget this when it comes to single motherhood. You have some women that are single mothers or widows. Okay, so like in my case, my mother was a widow, and she had to do it all by herself. So she was in a totally different category. And in a lot of the urban environments, how many stories have you heard where the woman was like, "Well, my boyfriend was murdered"?
Yeah, you've heard that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Saying so giving them the benefit of the doubt. We don't know what that young man would have been, or if he would have gotten out of that situation or whatever. Mm-hmm. But then those categories of women who lose their mates by murder or whatever, it doesn't matter if he was the bad guy that got killed. The point is, if the father was taken out of the equation by murder or death, I think that's a special category of women that puts women in a different category.
So, and I would say, as I was going to say earlier about my situation, I mean, my daughter's father and I broke up when my daughter's about 1 or so. So needless to say, we didn't make it very long, but I was 21 when I conceived her, almost 22. And, he's a little older than me.
And you guys dated for 3 years, something like that?
Yeah, when I was 19. So we got together when I was 19. Mm-hmm. So, it didn't work out for whatever reason. Now, he and I had our issues. We're young, young people have your issues. We had our issues, but there was never a time where he wasn't around. Now, mm-hmm. Maybe his money wasn't always around, but he was around. And so even though I shouldered most of the rearing of my daughter, or I should say our daughter, because I hate when people say my daughter.
I hate that too, yeah.
Our daughter, I shouldered most of the rearing, financially, physically, and all of that. He was still around. So I never really considered myself a single mother. Like, oh, I don't know. I ain't seen your dad in 2 or 3 years. I don't know where he is. Mm-hmm. I always knew where he was, unfortunately. No, I'm just playing. I always knew where he was, but he was always there, to watch her, to keep her. He wanted to be in the life of his child.
Active, yeah.
Yeah, so I never saw that. And so, but I don't think I had 1 child for a while, and then I raised 3 other my brother's oldest kids when they, as years went by. But I can't see how anybody would want to choose being a single mom, because it is hard. Mm-hmm. I had to work. I had a full-time job. I mean, and when he and I first broke up, I had 3 jobs. And, when he wasn't watching her or whatever the case is, or spending time with her, because I want to make him like a babysitter. Mm-hmm. I had to find people to take care of her while I was at work. My mom, my brother and his wife, and my sister. It was just a lot, you
And
know.
Tiana is a handful.
Yeah, well, she was a little spoiled brat, but it was a handful. And so I don't see how anybody could choose that, because you like, and as a single mom per se, you don't have any me time. And as most parents, you don't have a lot of me time. Your me time is like 5-10 minutes or when they sleep.
You know, and another sad thing when it comes to it, unlike when our parents were coming up, a lot of the resources in the community has been taken away to where it could help that single mother. Like I said, me and my mom were talking, well, my mom and I were talking a while back, and she brought up the fact that thank God for the boys club. You know, that because me and my brother lived in the boys club. I mean, we could, you know, for $5 a month membership dues. Oh man, you just dropped, especially in the summertime. Think about it. You're a single mom in the summertime and you got to go to work. You have to go to work. Where does your child go?
No, absolutely.
Kids, remember that latchkey kids? That's what we would have been categorized when we were coming up. And we would get the dollar ride and we would go to the boys club and we would stay there all day. And sometimes they would have like the camping thing going on where you can stay the weekend and stuff. And we just stayed there. And my mom had already paid for it through membership and stuff. And my mom was like, you know, thank God for the boy. You know, she had a lot of friends that helped out too, just like in your situation. But a lot of the resources are gone to help these moms, you know, and to help guide these kids and get their skills. I learned woodworking and crafting at the boys club. I learned to swim at I didn't learn to swim, but they had swimming over there, that organized basketball, day camp, all that stuff we learned there, you know?
Yeah. And so, I was fortunate, and I always tell people I was fortunate to come from a 2-parent household. So I saw the dynamics of that. And so when I became a single woman with a child, it wasn't always easy. And, you know, it was a lot of struggle. Well, for one, being that young with a child, you know, and I always say that I raised my younger brother, helped raise him, because I'm almost 10 years older.
There's almost 10-year gap or something like that.
Yeah, I'm 10 years older than him, so I have to do a lot.
That would make him 3 right now.
Exactly. So, you know, I, along with my other siblings who are older, we had to do a lot of babysitting and, you know, really taking care of my little brother. So I had those skills, but you just think about, because 21 is not that far off from graduating high school. So right. You think about being a free spirit per se, going to do what you want and not having to, you know, take care of another living thing. And then one day you do. And so it's a struggle, because there's no like, okay, well, here's a parenting manual that's going to make everything perfect. Of course, you have your mom and everybody around, you know, but you learn on the fly. And so when I hear people say,
especially on the first child, especially on the first child.
When I hear people saying, I'm choosing to be a single mom, I'm like, oh, you have no idea, honey. Yeah, you may have maids or nannies and stuff like that, but it's like, so you're going to have a child so somebody else could be seen as the parental figure or the maternal person in their life. So you're not really doing that child a good service. But when I hear women say that, I'm like, this being a mom, a parent in general, but I'm speaking from a mom's point of view, it's one of the hardest jobs you'll ever have.
Right. Well, let me see. You went over the question. You skipped over it.
Oh, I did. What did you ask me?
No. I'm just paraphrasing that. You skipped over the important question. You said that you came from a 2-parent home, which you did, and you find out you're pregnant. And you find yourself in a situation where you got to make a decision. Do I stay with this crazy Marine or do I go it alone? Knowing that you weren't raised in a single parent situation. So what made you decide? And we know the relationship broke up, but like when you got in that situation, what was going through your head?
Well, you know, like most people, that's why I really never try to judge people, because I understand, you know.
Judge them.
No. You know, at 21 years old, I mean, I had a high school boyfriend in high school sweetheart. We, you know, to stay together. And I told you guys that story. But so her father was the next, you know, big relationship that I had. So of course you're infatuated and all of that. But I didn't have the experience, and neither did he, as a 21-year-old, 19, we got together. But that young to even know what really life was about. And so, you know, you get pregnant And he wanted her. I told y'all the story. If I had offered my mom on numerous occasions a lot of money if he can have a child with me. My mom was like, "Don't be coming to me talking about having no child with my baby, and you ain't trying to marry her. Let's have that conversation first. Then you won't have to worry about giving somebody some money or whatever."
Right.
Kind of weird. But so when I ended up, getting pregnant with my daughter, I was shocked. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, "Can y'all read it again? Can y'all see if me?" Because you just, and I'm gonna keep it real. You rolling around not really counting the cost. Like, I could get, knocked up in this situation. You're just having fun. And then when it happens, then it's like, okay, playtime is over. So
right. But
I guess to answer your question, and I know that's kind of long, but to answer your question, even though I came from a household of a 2-parent household, and my parents were married, when they conceived me and my siblings, they taught me the best they could. But I wasn't living at home when I got pregnant, so that's another thing too. I was out on my own, so you got to make your own bed and you have to lie in it too.
Right, but why didn't you? Because you only learn what you know. So why didn't you choose to get married, shotgun wedding as they call it, or whatever back in the day? Why didn't you choose that? Because that's what you came from.
Well, again, see, getting married, it has to be a two-person decision. Now, he gave me a ring and all that, but he was a player. He was a player, and hell, he probably still. I don't say that because his wife might be watching.
He don't watch the show. He don't listen to the show.
I think he's outgrown the player thing, Mrs. But anyway, so he was a player, and he was 24, so he didn't want to get married. He didn't want to get married. I'm too young to get married and all of that, and this, that, and the other.
But you out here playing.
Yeah, so and I don't even know if I ever thought about getting married to him, because
see what I'm talking about.
No, and I'm just being transparent. Yeah. I want to lie to kick it. And again, I'm speaking from somebody who was 21.
Yeah.
22 when we essentially broke up. I'm speaking from that point of view. Yeah. I'm not speaking from who I am now.
Right. Yeah.
But the things that, and I don't want to say he took me through, the things we went through as two young people in a relationship. I didn't want to be married to dysfunction because, not to put him out there, but he had a lot of PTSD issues being in the military, and, and his mom is a wonderful person. Met her one time, believe it or not. And that was a couple of years ago. But he had been through so much trauma being raised with his mom. He's the youngest of 7 children.
From the South, right?
From the South. And, I won't go any further into his mom's situation, but just say he was
big families normal in the South. Yeah.
Yeah. Youngest of 7, multiple fathers from, his mom's behalf. And I want to be respectful.
I want to get mad. It's just big families.
Yeah. And so he didn't get a lot of attention. He actually looked at his sisters as his moms, because, his mom's doing her thing. And unfortunately, he came from a union that was a jump-off union, if you will. So he was product of a outside, his dad creeping around on his wife type of thing. So he didn't know his dad. So it was a lot of dysfunction there. Yeah. And so he didn't really view women very well. So he didn't treat me really well. So I don't want to demonize him. And I say this because we went through that together as young people. Yeah. So I never saw myself marrying him, because I'm like, it was just a lot for me.
Would you have, if given the situation back then and he asked you to get married, would you have done it? You have a child together, and you come from a married environment. Would you have married him?
I think I probably would have, if he would have asked me. Again, he gave me a ring, that silly stuff. It was a promise ring. Promise what? What are you promising me? Whatever. I got mad one time and I chucked it over a fence and some bushes and never found it again. But it's a long story. I probably would have, because, like you said, I come from that, and you want to be married and you want to raise your child, and I'll tell you guys, just to be honest with you, when I got pregnant with my daughter, never thought that I would raise her without her father in the same house. Yeah. But we got to that point to where it was like, he was doing the most, creeping around, cheating. It was a lot. So,
and another real quick question, because all this ties together. was his father involved in his life?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so that's my point, ladies. This is another reason why you have young men that make decisions because a positive reinforcement of a father or a role model is not in their lives to where they know how to treat a woman and to be functional in a relationship. So I could see why he was nowhere even near ready to be married or even get married.
And I understand it. Like I understand it now from a 50-year-old point of view.
Yeah.
But when I speak of our relationship, I'm obviously speaking in terms of when I was 21. And I didn't have the life experiences. I just had my cosmetology license for a while, but it was just a lot going on. Trying to find my way in life, and I messed around and got pregnant, and so life stops. And that's why I say too. See, I got it very young as a single mom. I met him in the club. Okay, I met him in the club, but I didn't keep going to the club.
Right.
I had friends who had children. It was like, you never want to go out. I'm not going to be no mama with chilling in the juke joint.
Right, right. Or I don't know if you have you seen that recent video of that funeral of that poor girl that got murdered in New Orleans or something like that, and they had the casket and they were shaking the casket to celebrate her life. Oh, you got to go look that video up. I was appalled. The body is in the casket and they're shaking the casket, celebrating her life. I'm like, oh my God, what have we come to? But anyway, I digress.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just cringe when I hear people glorify single motherhood, because if you're doing it right, now this is probably why it's glorified. So maybe we can have this conversation too. Maybe it's glorified. And when I say if you're doing, and I want to say single mama, but you're raising your children right. You're raising your children right. And I'm not talking about with the help of your mama who got the kids all day and night, and you out in the streets, and your mama, as Chris Rock said, the kids is calling your mama and calling you Pam, because they see the grandmama as the mama. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about you doing it right, where you are raising your children 95% on your own effort, you and the father, and you're everything to that child. And your me time, because I cringe too when I hear. See, I could be all over the place with the subject today, and I apologize, you guys, because I'm passionate about it. I cringe when I hear parents, especially moms, say, I just don't have no me time. You had the me time when you was on your back making a child. That's when the me time was going on. You don't have no. Listen, parents, in case you don't already know, especially mamas, because mamas do primarily raising the child. It's a fact. Me time, you're lucky to get me time, but you need to. Let me lean back, and I want to smash my afro though.
You got moms out here that go on girls trips and they leave the kids at home.
How? That's why I said let me lean back, let me smash my afro though. How, these mamas now, like when I had some me time, it was you gonna take your ass to the stove. And or I might be able to go out with my friend every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, very rare though. Very rare.
And my mom will watch my child, but it wasn't like, "Ooh, child, leave that baby here. That's my baby." She like, "What? You say you come back what time? I expect you to be back here."
And think about it. That's supposed to be a deterrent from you getting another one being not ready.
No. See what happened was, and then let me get back to this. So you got these mamas out there who they having a hot girl summer with all these kids. Even if you got one kid having all these hot girl summers, I just need a break from these kids. No, you don't. You need a break. I'm not saying you don't need a break every once in a while, but y'all talking about taking vacations.
Yeah.
And then you're mad at people. Yeah. You're mad at people because they don't want to watch your kids for a week. You don't even want to be with your kids for a week. Why I want to be with them for a week?
Or wait. Think about this. And you guys, you listeners know what I'm talking about. You help them watch their kids and they don't offer you any kind of compensation to watch the kids. They just get on the boat and go.
And right, but you said a mouthful too, because I'm just speaking to y'all from my experience. My mom is no longer here. God rest her soul. When I was younger, I don't want to say I was mad about it, but I was like, damn, my mama, she ain't one of them grandmamas that's like lead a kid. But it was possibly a deterrent for me coming back with more kids. We all know raise your hand if you know somebody who
I don't even know what you're saying. Look, my hand's already
we
raised.
all know people who've got grandkids and multiple grandkids because the kid keep bringing back more because you watching the first kid and they out there getting the heels up in the air. Y'all know what I'm saying? Making more babies.
No. I'm going to have to correct you on that. 9 times out of 10, and the women do it too. It's the men, the single mothers that are raising these boys that have 3 or 4 different girls pregnant with 6 kids.
See,
they keep bringing them.
And that's what I'm saying. It's not a deterrent. And I say that's why I love my mama. Is because my mom was like, you're going to raise her. I will help you. And my mom was good with that. If you, for whatever reason, you don't have no money and my grandchild needs some medicine, you don't hesitate. You come to me, whatever. But you laid down and made her, and you are going to raise her. And I say, I'm thankful that she made me do the job that I created for myself. Is because if she didn't, my child is 29. She don't have no kids and all that, but most of her girlfriends got kids. Yeah. They not married and they got this drama and this. And
can I go to your mom for some Jordans?
Huh?
Mama, I need my kid to have some Jordans. Can you give me some money?
Yeah, or they mad at their mama because the mama don't want to watch their kids while they go on vacation. And I said, that ain't their mama job. The mama didn't lay down and raise those kids. They raised the kids. And so you actively mad at your mama because she want to watch your kid, not one kid, but kids.
Right.
Go off on vacation.
Right. Or better yet, think about this, ladies and young gentlemen. Your grandma has done her job with her children. Why does she get the pleasure of raising another set? If she doesn't want to do it, that's totally her right. And you shouldn't be getting mad at her because now that's your responsibility.
And that's what I'm saying. If you actually are actively parenting right, you're not out there willy-nilly just laying down with anybody and making kids. And I'm talking about men and women. You're not just laying down with anybody making kids because you know that is an awesome, and I say awesome is to be multifaceted, an awesome responsibility to raise a life. It's awesome because it's a big responsibility and it's amazing if you do it right. But like you said, I mean, you got parents who just are parents. If you are a grandparent now, you are possibly aiding and abetting in the irresponsibility of your children when you don't make them do the job that they created. Listen, there is no guilt tripping. There is no, because I see posts now, they don't make the grandmamas like they used to. Nah, because the grandma was like me. I could tell my daughter, and I love kids. Anybody know me? I love kids. But I know I would be doing her a disservice if I was to take that responsibility from her. But I also have taught her, don't do like I did. Find you whatever good man finds you. Y'all get to know each other, then y'all go do your life, and then you decide you want to have children. That way, I'm the grandmama for recreation, not obligation.
Right.
You know, y'all want to go on a date night, but don't have no baby out of wedlock and expect for me to be the baby daddy.
Right. And stop making it comfortable, mamas, for your sons to be laid up in your house, bringing home these babies. The minute he brought home that second baby, you need to put him out and make him go be a man. Make him go be a man. Because guess what? If I ain't got a house, I ain't got no place to take you to the, I'd have to get some money to take you to the Momo to do my business. But if mama just, you have moms out there. And like I said, I'm getting tired of coming down on the moms and stuff. You got moms out there that will let a young man come into the house because he ain't got no place to go. Moms, ask yourself, if his own people won't let them stay with him, why would you let him stay with you? And then he's in the house with your daughter.
And you know what, though, brother, you said a mouthful when you said, y'all, these sons out there creating all these lives, and they snug as a bug in the rug in the house with mama. And like you said, no, put his black ass out the house. See, like I said, I'm passionate about this parenting thing because Kids, then they don't ask to be brought here, and
Right.
they don't ask for you to be a lackluster parent. But I'm with you 100% on that.
Mm-hmm.
Put his black ass out the house, because ain't no way in hell he should be out there creating lives, and then he's snug in your house and he warm and comfortable, and you know he possibly got a woman out there struggling trying to raise a child, and you making all this. Well, I know that's your baby, and you know, and that's my. It's like in some of these cases, Donovan, I want you to speak to this.
Yeah.
In some of these cases, these mamas that got these sons that's out there making these babies, they in essence kind of like become the other girlfriend. Like they get mad that he got to have a responsibility of taking care of a life and creating, and they end up fighting with the baby mama. So speak to that.
Yeah, no, and it is crazy what you're saying, because it's like the mother is so quick to defend the son, but the DNA doesn't lie. The DNA doesn't lie. So what are you defending? He made a conscious decision to lay down and wild out or whatever he was doing. And instead of you teaching and reinforcing to both of them, the boy and the girl, hey, y'all in this situation, don't be bringing no more in here, whatever. You gonna go in there and get wild with the girl. Well, she ain't bringing my grandbaby over, and I got grandparents' rights, and I got this. You know, that isn't the issue. The issue is bringing in children that they can't afford to take care of. Now, in my own history, in my own story, my youngest son, when he was made up in Alaska, he wasn't planned or anything like that, right? So I go to his mom, and I was like this to her. I was like, okay, you know, we're in the situation, whatever, that's fine. I'm a little older. I'm a little bit more mature. I think I was about 28 when my son was born, 29, something like that. My youngest was born. I'm an old guy, believe it or not, you guys. I'm an old man. But anyway, so I was mature by then, because after my first one, I learned. I went through hell and black. I say hell and black. Anyway, so I'm sitting there and we're having, and my son's mom is older than me by 4 or 5 years. Okay, so she's a mature woman. So we're sitting there, whatever, and she was adamant about not having the baby at time. And so we talked about that and what the things are, whatever. And I, you know, and the funny thing is, Demetri, I used to ask her, well, okay, we knew what we were doing. You know, I mean, we knew what we were doing. I mean, that's where I was coming at it from. Like, okay, consequences, right? Well, technically I was a victim because anyway, that's another story. But anyway, consequences. So she's giving me 101 reasons why she shouldn't have the baby. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And I was like, but right? So I finally talk her out of that option. But then I was like, look, she was like, okay, fine. You know, she finally decides she's going to have the baby, or, you know, we're going to have the pregnancy. But yet she doesn't want to be married. And I was like, well, what's wrong with being married? Even if it's just to not excuse my language, bastardize the child.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's the legal term. But to bastardize a child. Ladies, you could marry the father. And I mean, come on, you got these get out divorces, whatever. But I knew that was my child, whatever. She was adamant against that. And you want to know why?
Why?
I could make it on my own. I don't really need to get married to do all this other stuff. I don't need this from you. I just need you to do what you're supposed to do on your side. You know, and that was fair. But here I am, a man saying, look,
let me make you an honest woman.
Yeah, we got along enough to make the baby. Let's just go through the same motions, do the legal thing, put this thing down so the kid isn't ostracized and messed up. But she refused to do it because she was on that, I don't need a man kick. I could do it on my own. Just make sure you do what you're supposed to. But then again, you can't do it on your own if I'm kicking in my funds. But, you know, I was going to do what I was supposed to do. But no matter what I told her, she was not with taking 6 months of her time to go through the legal process of getting married and then getting divorced so that the child isn't ostracized in a situation of being technically a single mother.
Yeah. And yeah, so, you know, whatever, you know, she was taught in life like that was okay. You know, those were
shit. Right.
Yeah, those were the agreements that she made with herself. Well, it's okay to be a single mom. I got it. I don't need you around, and I don't need to be married. But I'm sure that probably caught up to her in the long run. Like, damn, I should have picked him up on his offer, you know. Yeah. But
And then had the nerve to ask me to have another baby.
Like, no, I'm good, sis. I'm good.
I was like, wait a minute, we're not married. See what I'm saying? Fellas, you're supposed to learn from your mistakes.
Right. But I'm just really still stuck on what you said about these women, these mothers, and we speaking about our community, these, Black mamas who, in a way become their son's side piece.
Yeah.
They want to get in arguments with the baby mama, and she just, and we just trying to get along with her, and she won't let us see the. Wait a minute, who is this us? Why are you joining yourself with your son? Like, you got to, and that's probably why the baby mama don't, really want to get in when she fit in, because she feel like it's her against you and your son. And you and your son, y'all got this allegiance and this alliance, and you in his ear. She this and she that. She needed this.
He's my king.
Yeah, all of that.
I raised him to be a king, so he's my man.
But like you said, if a mama work her weight, her son come home talking about, well, I done knocked her up. And especially if he's adult age.
Yeah.
Oh, you did, huh? Well, you can't live here no more.
Right.
Because you out there doing what grown men do. And I, as your mama and your daddy, because the daddy has a role in this too, we don't want to aid and abet you being a no good, SOB or whatever the case is. You're going to get out there and make it do what it do. Because if I allow you to lie your head in our house and you out there creating lies, then you're going to think it's okay. You won't be, because this is where the rubber meets the road. It's really gonna make you think about whether you want to be with this woman or not. But if we allow you to stay here, then you free. Mama's baby, daddy's maybe. You ain't got the baby with you. We don't know where you be at when you ain't in here. You probably out there messing with other women, creating other babies. And so what we gonna do is give you your hefty bag, son.
Yep.
And then you go out there and get your little place, your job, and you need to go out there and take care of yourself and your child. And guess what? He ain't out there overpopulating like he would if he landed up under your roof.
Yeah, because he doesn't have time. And then think about this. I've been to many churches as a visitor, and I'm sitting there, and they're doing the christening, and they're christening these babies, and I'm all for christening the babies, but the parents aren't married.
Yeah, that's old school right there.
You know what I mean? And or the deacon's son is one of the perpetrators of the incident. You know what I mean?
Now you treading in dangerous grounds, brother.
Right, but what kind of message are we sending to these young girls? Because let's face it, ladies, I don't care what anybody says, there are more women in the church than there are men. That's a fact. So what kind of message are we saying in the church? Well, it doesn't matter if you're not married anymore. And nothing against the children. Of course, the children are, it is what it is. But the point is, I remember when we were coming up, Demetra, you couldn't come walk up in a church with a baby out of wedlock.
Well, and the church is kind of barbaric in that sense where they would really ostracize the pregnant girl, and I think it's unfair. But I'm with the churches that are like, okay, what I need you to do,
right?
Sit down, and because my pastor is no longer here. He made a good point of saying that. He says, well, if it's a teenage girl or even somebody who may be an adult, but maybe like 18 or so, or 16, 17, whatever, she gets pregnant, she can't hang out with the youth no more.
Exactly.
She needs to come into the big church, sit in the big service with the adults.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, because we don't want that rubbing off on the younger girls and them thinking that's okay. She's exactly an adult now.
That's exactly what I was going.
We're not going to kick her out the church, but she needs to come and start learning about being an adult, and her and the father, if the father's involved in the church as well. But we don't want that to rub off on the younger girls, because they'll tend to think that's, being glorified. Okay. Oh, that looks fun. You're going to have a baby.
Yeah. We're not hitting you hard, but we're saying is that's not the route to go. It's not an acceptable thing. There's nothing wrong. I don't think there's nothing wrong with telling young people that's not acceptable. Yeah, it happened. It's just that you need to know that that's not acceptable. We just keep, okaying everything. They're going to think everything's okay.
We do our children a disservice when we don't tell them the truth, because a lot of times, I don't know, in our community per se, the numbers or percentages or whatever, but it's glorified to a point to where you see a lot of young girls walking around pregnant. And it's like, well, did anybody really have a conversation with her that, yeah, you see your friends with babies and it looks cute, but what your friend is probably not telling you is that I don't get any sleep anymore. I don't know that I'm lucky to have gotten my hair combed today, and this child takes up 100% of my time, and I'm not going to be able to
finish school. I can't do my dreams.
Yeah, so we need to tell the whole. This not. What if he don't stick around? And most young girls who are pregnant, they don't stay together with the father because they was just doing something. Right. They weren't trying to like, okay, listen, if we do this and we create a life, then you're gonna go get a job, and they don't talk about that. They're just doing something. So he's probably not going to stick around.
Right. And what's really sad, and you fellas be sitting here listening to this program right now. You old niggas out here preying on these young girls and not taking the responsibility of the children that you bring in here. I mean, we seldom talk about these old men. When I say old niggas, you're 25 and you're dating a 15-year-old.
Or hell, some of them in their 40s and 50s,
exactly,
dating a 20-year-old and living at home with their mama.
Right, exactly. Right. Let's talk about those guys. But ladies, at the same time, though, and like I said, I know it seems like everything keeps, coming down on you, but you guys control access to the sex. You just can't lay down with any and everybody. If this man's 40-something years old and he ain't got his own spot, why aren't you questioning that?
Yeah, but again, you and I are old enough to have parents who came from parents who was like, oh, no, not on my watch, boo-boo.
Yeah, my mom told me, ever since I could remember, you have a child, you are now grown. You have emancipated yourself.
And that's the way it is, and I can also hear somebody saying, well, do you think that girls should be put out of the house?
No, not necessarily.
I don't want to, because somebody will say, well, it's only fair. Why is she different than the man? Because the man
because we're different. That's why.
Yeah, and the man is probably not going to be saddled down with the baby
24
hours a day. I'm not saying that even if he is in the child's life, he's probably going to be out there working while the mom is going to, let me finish, the woman is going to stay home. But I do believe in putting some demands on her and saying, okay, you've gotten in the family way, as they would say back in the day. You're going to have this baby. Y'all two need to come up with a plan because you need to leave here. Because what's going to happen is you're going to be under my roof. And I'm telling you, the horror stories that I hear nowadays, I'm hearing about these girls, and they're girls to me, but in their 20s, whatever, they got kids, and it's like you laying up under your mama house and you acting like you single, you out there screwing dudes, and you like you doing the most.
Going to the club.
And then, you don't ever plan on really leaving your mama house. It's like, but so the point that I'm making is it's not uncomfortable for them to be there. Like there's no pressure. Right. Like, damn, I can't really go out and need to save my money because I got my mama putting me up out of here.
Yeah, or like I said, and I do think it needs to be different because, the woman does need to stay because everybody's entitled to a mistake. And unfortunately, the women carry the babies. So yes, she needs to stay with that first baby. Now, the second baby, you need to put her out.
And I'm just speaking from experience. I didn't live with my mom. I take that back. I lived with my mom like a month or so when her and my daughter and my father and I broke up. And that's when the 3 jobs came and it got my own place. And I was on my own. I was 19 too, but I had a little setback. But my mom, she never told me I couldn't live with her. I just think it was unsaid. Like, you a grown woman. You're a grown woman and you have a child and you need to go out there and make it do what it do because, I'm not going to aid and abet you in not being a good mom. And I credit my mom for really just saying, hey, you made her, you need to take care of her. And I worked hard. I worked very, very hard. And like I said, I struggled.
You worked so damn hard that they put child support on you.
They did put child support on me, but I never paid. And I told y'all that story before. Right.
But I'm just saying, that shows you how hard you work, though.
Yeah, and I always worked hard. And my daughter would tell you, and anybody who knows me, my daughter had everything she needed. She had to, she might have, I didn't spend never buy no Jordans or nothing like that, but she looked nice. She was clean. She was in every
Had her
sports,
little barrettes in her hair.
all that. Anything my daughter was involved in stuff from when she was a toddler, all the way up to, even through college. She was in dance. So the point that I'm making is I worked hard because I did not want to be, because I've seen it, a mom who was lackluster to her child just because she was lazy or she valued men more than she did the relationship and the well-being of her child.
Or enjoyment, her own personal enjoyment.
I never did. Every once in a while, I went out. Every once in a while, my mom was like, "Yeah, I watch her," but it wasn't every weekend. Deanna's mama was in the club.
Right. And let me just say this, and I'm just gonna question this. Another reason why you were able to give Deanna everything she needed is the fact that you did not make reckless decisions and brought in a sibling on her and all that other stuff.
Nope. I didn't. And then listen, and I always have to preface it this way because I don't want to seem like I'm shading anybody who has multiple, fathers for their children. So please don't mistake me in that. Okay. But for me, I did not want to keep creating other lives with different men. And I was always one of those people like, I'm not going to have kids, right? So I had one. So I knew one was that not really just a financial thing. Because I think when you tough like me and you work hard, you'll find the money, right? But for me, it was more like a emotional and just a mental thing. That's one is all I could do at the time. And so I didn't want to begrudge my daughter of anything that she needed. And I just didn't want to have a bunch of baby daddies. It's just me.
Right. No, I don't think it has to do anything with the baby daddies. See, what I applaud you about is the fact it's kind of like me. I looked and I said, if I want to live a certain lifestyle, I cannot continually be bringing children into this world because I want to live a certain lifestyle. Because we know as parents, children are expensive, especially if you want to give them the foundation that they need to survive in the world, especially as Black children and all that other stuff. So when I look at these young girls bringing in babies, forget the fathers. I'm not worried about how many different baby daddies. That's not the point. How can you sustain a lifestyle of quality for these children that you can't even really afford?
It's hard. I mean, like I said, my daughter, I'm saying my daughter in the context of the things that I did for her. She did everything she wanted to do. She said, "Mom, I want to be a cheerleader." Okay, go try out.
Right.
Anybody who's paid for cheerleading, you got nieces, so it ain't cheap.
No, they weren't active in sports, and they don't even have friends to this day, according to them.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, so anybody who's had a daughter in cheerleading, it ain't cheap. Those uniforms is into the hundreds of dollars.
Did your daughter not attend Breeze Studio, which is one of the premier studios in Riverside, California?
My daughter's a trained dancer ever since she was 5. I kept her in, dance school classes, ballet, tap, hip hop, jazz, modern, Japanese.
Right.
And she did all of that, right? So what I even was a hip hop instructor because I have a dance background too, if y'all didn't know. But I became a hip hop instructor so I could pay for all of those fees because she was on 3 and 4.
Wait a minute. Wait. You became a hip hop instructor instead of going to the pole?
Yeah. If I was at the studio, the dance studio, I might as well. They had she asked me. Because I would take a class or something. She says, we have an opening. Would you want to be a dance instructor? I was like, yeah, I'll do it because I could dance,
I spent many hours in that waiting room waiting for the kids to get done with their classes. I remember saying that.
That's how I paid for her to dance, and it was expensive.
Yeah.
But I only took home I think after I got it done instructing $30 every month.
Yeah.
So
still,
I didn't do it for the money.
Right. But look at the benefit you got out of that. But again, I look at these single moms, and and I'm not shading anybody because again, I'm the most humble person that there is. I'm one of these people, you guys. I'm comfortable in a tent right now. I would have no problem living next to a homeless person on the block. And that's from my background, knowing how to camp. I like being out there, doing that.
Say, Negro, you got 11 TVs in your house.
Yeah. No, but I can get rid of that. That's what I'm saying. I don't need all of that to do what I got to do. But ladies, especially you young ladies, especially you young men, if you are born in a situation to where you are in Section 8 housing, how is it going to better your situation of getting out of there if you bring a child into the world? Or if you ladies, you willingly decide to, not willingly decide, but you have a child and you're the environment that you're in, the statistically likelihood of you getting out of there is very nil. Because let's look at it. When you look at subsidized housing, I'm gonna call it subsidized housing. When you look at subsidized housing, there's almost 3 generations of women that live in the same exact house. Grandma, daughter, granddaughter.
See, and and that's unfortunate. And I never wanted that to be me. Like I said, I worked all my daughter's, childhood. I mean, I'm one of those people, which I don't want to say I'm rare, but I worked ever since I was 14.
Yep.
14. And I come from a family of entrepreneurs. And so I guess that was kind of born to me. It's like, nah, ain't no excuse not to have it. Go get it.
Go get it.
I don't want to say by any means necessary because, the poll is by any means necessary.
Yeah.
But my dad always says, as long as you got this, which is your mind and your hands, there's no reason why you should starve. And so I didn't want that to be me, though. I didn't want to be, I'm barely getting by. I'm living in poverty. I don't have what I need. I've always had a car. My mom bought me my first car when I was like 18. And from that point, I've never, ever, ever been without a car.
Let me ask you this. When your mom bought you the car, did you feel the need to pay your mom back by being productive in society?
And that's why she gave it to me. My mom and dad have the ideology of, again, my mom's not here, but I'm not going to help you do nothing.
There you go.
My mom saw that I was trying to do something in life. And I told y'all the story about when she gave me the car, it was running nice. She actually got it from a grandma. So, and then she gave it to me. But you let my older brother use it and he ran it into the ground. I mean, I had pulled up into work one day and I couldn't even pull out of work because the car wouldn't even work no more. My mom, she says, I'm gonna fix your car. My mom put like $1,200 or so in there. That's a lot of money in 1990. I'm gonna fix your car. She says, but if you let anybody else drive your car ever again, don't you ever ask me to help. She said, if they can't pay to fix your car or pay the car payment, then don't let them drive it. She said, that's what you should be asking yourself before somebody, can I use your car? Okay. If my car breaks down, are they going to fix it? If the answer is no, then no, you cannot use my car. And that's true for a lot of people. They're going to get in your stuff and ride until the wheels fall off, literally. And then be like, well, I didn't do that. How you know I did that? Because, I just used the car once or twice. But I learned a lot of valuable lessons from my mom. She was like, nah, because my mom had a Mercedes that she loved to death. And you had to be next to Jesus to get in it. But she was like, if you can't pay this $800 car note, then you can't ride in it. So but she kept, all the shit. My mom had the car all the way up till she passed, But that I learned so much from her as a mom and a good parent. A lot of life lessons that I use today is like, even with my mom's books, my mom had books and books. I mean, this is a fake library, but it looked like that, right?
Yeah.
She didn't let you borrow her books. She says, because people don't bring your books back. So
and you learned that from your brother, right?
Right. So, but I'm grateful that I had a mother and I had grandmothers who did it right and taught me those things.
But let's go a little extended, a little farther, a little bit. Why is it that you think that these new mothers and even the older mothers now aren't teaching what has been taught for years and years and years and passed down? I mean, where did the breakdown? Okay, ladies, we're not talking about the men. We are not talking about the men right now, okay? I'm talking to Demetra, who's a mother, and one day, God willing, will be a grandmother. Where did the breakdown, do you think, happened to where these women are not teaching the younger girl? Because like you said, we have ladies that are grandmothers our age still having a hot girl summer. So, I mean, what happened?
I mean, every once in a while, I have a hot flash summer. I don't know if that's the same thing, but and forgive me, ladies. Y'all know me, especially y'all follow the show. Y'all know I'm gonna do nothing but tell the truth. women have gotten, and I'm speaking to Black women, have gotten lazy and selfish, lazy and selfish. Because when I think about the moms that my grandmother was and my mom was, and listen, they weren't perfect. I'm not sitting here saying my grandma, my mama was perfect. They weren't. But when I think about the work they put into raising their children, it's a far cry from what we see nowadays. And so women over time have gotten caught up into not the Me Too movement, but the me movement.
Me.
It's like you create this life and then you're almost mad that you have to raise it. I just don't never had no time for me. You think about the me time. I tell my daughter, I'm talking my daughter that from a child. It's cute. These little kids you see running around are cute. Ooh, cute. But it's not cute, especially like think of yourself. I think of my daughter. My daughter, she's a girl of the world. She likes to travel. She likes to go to concerts. And I say, now imagine you're not able to do that one day. Not trying to talk out of having kids,
right?
But imagine not being able to do that one day because
you can't balance it.
You got a kid that's gonna get up at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the morning. You ain't, and I ain't gonna be watching no kids all damn day long,
Or you got the kid at school that has to sell the candy, even though they don't sell it, it's you.
So women have gotten lazy and selfish, and they've stopped teaching, and they've gotten absorbed into me. It's me. It's all about me. And then so they stop passing those lessons down to their daughters and their sons. Even like this, parenting is work. It's not easy. I don't care. That's why you see these rich people. They might have all these kids, but they got 400 nannies for each one of them.
Yeah. And you brought up a good point, because you brought up, again, now, ladies, we can talk about bringing the men in. Wouldn't your life be a lot easier if you had the other parent involved in the raising of the children?
Yeah, it's a group effort, and that's what I teach my daughter. And that's why I say not that it was, I don't want to say that like my daughter was a mistake, because most of us wasn't playing. Let's just keep it.
Yeah. I mean, my parents were, your parents were married. We're just here. It ain't like they just said, hey, let's have a baby. No, they didn't do that. They were having fun being married and having marital relations. And we
exactly. So I tell my daughter, it's easier to do it with the group effort. You got a husband, and I reiterate husband, because I don't want my daughter to be a baby mom. I'm sorry. I'm just that way. I've never visioned or envisioned my daughter being a baby mama. Now I was a baby mama, so I'm not knocking it, but I never envisioned that, and I never raised her to be such. I always tell her, when you get with your husband, y'all raise the child, and it's easy. And I will say this to give credit to my daughter's father. He may not watch. I don't know. He stopped us sometimes. But anyway, he may watch. And I will give him a credit and say that when we work together, I love him for this. That Negro know that he was like, that's I'm gonna get up and I'll take the 12 to 6 shift. 12 at night to 6. And I'm like, because we should be fighting over who getting this shift. But I was grateful because he stayed up with her. He got up with her, fed her. And so I had it easy when it came to that. But if I didn't have him to do that during those, when she was first born, I don't know, it's just hard. It was hard. I remember one time, and this is me being transparent, my daughter, she had colic. When baby get colic and they cry because their stomach hurt. One day, she was crying and crying and crying. And I don't know where he was. She would not stop crying. So I had her in the car seat. I was trying to get dressed. And I just looked at her and I took her car seat and I put it in the closet. It was like a big walk-in closet. Put it in the closet and I closed it. And she didn't say anything. She just stopped crying automatically. And then I felt so bad that I did that. And so I opened the closet and she was looking at me like, what the hell? And she could have been no more than like 2 or 3 months. But I had to really just say to myself, you're new to this. This is hard. And, you're going to get through this, then because I really beat myself up a long time because I did that to her. But I had to also say to myself, you're a human. You're a new mom. It's not easy to do that. And so That's why I say I cringe a lot when I hear mothers, say I don't mind being a single mama. I'm gonna raise a kid by myself. Like, you have no idea. You have no idea what that, like, that kid is crying and crying and crying and crying, and you snap. Like, I just want you to freaking be quiet.
Yeah,
and it's not the kid's fault.
Yeah, isn't that where you hear the stories of the child shaking syndrome and all that?
Yeah, no, I wasn't that damn crazy. That's why I picked her up in a car seat and I put her in a closet.
But here's my thing. Let me ask you this question real quick. So I think this is a good topic to talk about. And people are sitting in traffic and they want to hear what's going on. What is the greatest gift a woman can give a man?
That's a really good question. I think, well, if you speaking of the physical, I think the greatest gift, if he wants it, she can give a man is a child.
Exactly.
I think that's a great gift.
That is the greatest gift you can give a man. Now, if that is the case, why are these women out here just having babies willy-nilly with just anybody?
Because they don't count the cost. They don't, when I say don't count the cost, they don't they don't weigh everything. Okay. Like, I don't care what y'all say. Man, I think this has really got lost in translation. When you plug the plug into the socket,
right, to the outlet,
you're going to create something. I mean, let's keep it real. So the purpose of sex is procreation, period.
Number one, right?
Yeah. So we've done all the other stuff, hanging from chandeliers and swinging around, and we've done all of that with it. Not that I'm hanging from a chandelier, I ain't the type of woman. Not, so we've forgotten that's what it's about. And so people lie down, ooh, this feels so good. Ooh. And then it's like, hey, I got something to tell you. Well, I wasn't trying to. No, yes, you was, buddy, because you stuck the socket into the plug.
Right. But okay, so if you could give me the greatest gift by giving me a child, why is it that you do not want to? For me, one of the greatest gifts I can give you is my family name. We have a child together, but in marriage, and saying, okay, this is my woman, and me claiming you. Why is it that these young girls figure marriage is such a terrible thing?
Again, because it's gotten to the point of it's me, child. I ain't trying to deal with no man right now. We just don't teach those things. As we talk about all the time, our mom's generation, the goal was to get married out of high school. That was
right.
Most, and
they went to school. They were even taught to be wives. That's why you had home ec and all that other stuff.
They learned that from their mama. That was like the goal, right? To get with a good man who is going to take care of you, and you stay in the home and you raise the children. That was what my mom told me. She says, when I was going in high school, when I was graduating, most of my girlfriends were talking about, I'm gonna get married, or we gonna
remember back in our day, our parents' day, all the men were getting drafted. Oh, when he come, girl, before he goes to Vietnam, we gonna get married. We gonna go down to the thing and get married because he's going off the war and stuff like that. When he gets back, he'll have benefits. We can get our little house.
But then they were taught that being a wife was an admirable thing. Mm-hmm. That was a goal. You're not because see. Nowadays, women are taught that being a wife means, you're going to be having to do all of this and you got to bow down. No,
what's wrong with that?
But no, I'm saying that's all they're taught.
Yeah.
But they're not taught that when you're a wife, you are heaven on earth for that man because he's providing an environment for you to be that. You are not just the wife, but you are the accountant. You are, a doctor in some cases, a nurse. You are, you're providing all of these services. And so that has gotten watered down to, he just wants somebody to wait on him hand and foot.
Quick question. Let me cut you off.
Sure.
Quick question. If you have a problem with doing a job within your own household, tell me if maybe I'm just crazy. When Mr. Charlie on his job, you don't talk back on whatever he says, I want it done this way, and that way. They have no problem doing that. But then in their own household, they're resistant to what the husband might be asking them.
And that's why the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Elijah Muhammad also said, that's why as Black men, your woman shouldn't be at a job because she
Mm-hmm.
is going to be answering to another woman. I mean, another man
Mm-hmm.
who is paying her. And more than likely, he's chasing your pretty brown wife around the office and she can't say no to him because, damn, I'm providing. I got to bring some money into the household. And so I got to put up with this, you know, white man saying all these things to me.
But what I'm saying is now in the modern age, you have women that have no problem taking orders from Mr. Charlie, but they seem to have a problem doing their job.
That is, but see, that's why I said what I said, because part of that is because when my mama and your mama was married, they didn't know who the hell Mr. Charlie was because they was in the house.
Right.
But it has gotten to a point for a whole lot of reasons we don't have time to get into today. Yeah. It's gotten to the point to where most Black women who work, they know who Mr. Charlie is because they not, for whatever reason, I'm not blaming you Black men, but I'm saying for whatever reason, they don't have the luxury, because I consider that a luxury, to be at home and raise the children and make sure the house is a home and make sure he has everything. That's not there anymore. And so they have a Mr. Charlie to answer to it. So maybe, now this is where you can maybe say something, Donna. You Black men, get up off of your mind. Then you can get off your ass and go out there, create businesses, and so your woman can stay home. Now, the other side of that, now you can speak that after this. The other side of that is women, you got to put yourself in a position to be a helpmeet to the man who may be out there working for Mr. Because your man working for Mr. Charlie too, okay? Be a helpmeet, and y'all build something, and y'all can, both leave Mr. Charlie alone. So it has to work in tandem. But nowadays, you got women who are like, I ain't gonna be doing all of that. Why? Listen, with sisters, if that's your thing, you want to be out there working, good for you. But if you working and he working, who raising the kids?
Right. And I bring that up because I find it amazing how in a relationship, you won't do the job that I ask you as a man, but you will go to your job out there willingly and give that person no feedback, no pushback.
Because there's consequences. Now, I'm not saying there's not consequences in the home, but and that's why I brought up, both ministers, Farrakhan and Elijah Muhammad, is because they said that when you as a Black man put your woman in the position to have to answer to Mr. Charlie is the boss. And then because it's the same thing in the church. And I know some people go to church and gonna get mad, but I'm saying what I got to say. That's why a lot of Black women are alone in the church, in the Black church. You have more Black women than you have Black men in the church because, for one, that woman answers to who? Somebody might have said Jesus. Nah, she answers to the pastor. And what does the pastor say? It does say in the Bible, if you're single, it's better to be that so you can do all the things you want to do. You can go to church as much as you want. You don't have to answer to a man or whatever, vice versa. But so it's the same thing in the church. She go home to her husband. I ain't gonna that I'm going to church and all this, so the pastor becomes her husband or her boss. And a man work his weight is not coming second to another man. I don't care if it's your boss at work or your boss at church, the pastor. So a lot of times these women get that in their mind because they're so inundated with you're more important. But again, that comes from slavery. The woman was always, Black woman was always put in the position of superiority over the Black man. And she still, unfortunately, walks in that today. And so she gonna go to the job. Oh yeah, Mr. Charlie. Oh yeah, one lump or two,
Right.
But let you in the home as a husband.
Say, could you get? I'm watching the Super Bowl. Could you get me a beer out of the refrigerator? Nigga, get it yourself.
Right. Exactly. So we got a lot of work to do, but really it does start from the lessons, as you pointed out, that we teach our children from birth. It don't start when they coming home with kids already. No, you start teaching them from when you can have a good conversation with them, what they're expected to do in life. My mom taught me that in closing as just a parenting tip. Kids would do what you expect them to do.
Right, absolutely.
Don't lower the bar for them. If you got expectations, if I say bring your Black ass in this house before the street lights come in,
we were running.
Have your ass in the house, otherwise it's gonna be consequences, right? So you set the expectations and you stick to it. I know I'm going along here, But I hate when parents say, "Oh, my kids won't like vegetables. Oh, I just can't get my kids to go to sleep. Oh, my kids won't."
8 o'clock was the golden number. 8 o'clock, right after the $6 million man, take your ass to bed.
I don't care if you're sleepy or not. You better be in the bed.
In bed, right.
But you hear these parents now, oh, they don't like to do this. I believe in giving kids choices, but if I put some broccoli on your plate, how you know you don't like it unless I tell you don't like it?
Exactly.
You don't eat it.
Exactly. You got parents that say, "Oh, my kid doesn't like ice cream." Well, how do you know that? They don't like Legoland. How do you know that? And a lot of kids lose out on opportunities because their parents don't like it. You don't know if the kids don't like it.
Lazy. And like I said, we get into this another time, but the cell phone, I think, has really just murdered parenting.
Well, real quick, I get irked when I see kids at the store in the basket with the damn cell phone, just doing. It's like you got kids that can't tell you how to get home, and they're right down the street from the park.
That, Donovan, like I said, we could be here forever, but that cell phone and these kids and these parents, I see it all the time. They got to be watching a tablet to get the hair combed. They got to be on the tablet in the car. What did we do when we was in the car back in the day? What did we do?
You're looking around to see where you're at.
You play slug bug. You try
to get
all the out-of-state license plates.
Or if the truck's behind you, you give the signal. Whatever you're doing.
You had a conversation with everybody in the car.
Right. Or you're listening to a song that wasn't vulgar, and you're kind of your mom or your dad is telling you what the song means, or who sang it, or what the group is, or whatever, and they'll tell you their story. Oh, that's me and your mama's song when we were back in the day.
But let the damn tablet or the phone die. Oh, what about? I need to get
all hell breaks. But but here's what's crazy about that. I know we're going a little bit long here. These kids can operate a tablet at 3 years old. I've seen kids 3 years old operating tablets and phones, but they don't know their ABCs. They don't know comprehension. You know what I mean? It's like they're lacking.
Allowing them to watch stuff that's got them. Like if you I don't have a child. I got little nieces and nephews, and I still, when I was would have my little niece Lily. She because they live with me, she would come over to my room, and I would put on Sesame Street.
Yeah,
they still taught the fundamentals of counting and ABCs and stuff like that.
Company, stuff like that.
But the stuff they putting on nowadays is like, are they even speaking English? What are they? Not that they're not speaking a different language. It's like, but what are they saying?
Yeah. I learned my first Spanish words from Sesame Street, cerrado.
Exactly.
Things like that.
So. But they don't watch stuff like that no more.
Yeah, they don't watch stuff like that. And the funny thing is, my mom's a thrift store queen, as everybody knows. Every time my mom comes visit, I take her around to her little thrift store spots that she used to hit up. Now, as a kid,
you are very patient, because I call you, be like,
well, no. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. It's not that I'm patient. When I was little, knowing that my mom was going to stop by the thrift store on our way home, I would go and read my book. That was the perfect time for me to read. I would sit in the car because my mom, I didn't always go into the thrift store. But when I didn't go, I am in the car reading a book.
And that's what we did. The Muslims have a thing saying never without a book. You take a book, because if you notice, and I know it's black people to read, so I don't want to say this, but you see white people and other people, they sitting somewhere waiting. What they doing?
Reading a book. Reading. One of the biggest, most successful series of books in the recent history is what?
With the Harry Potter books?
The Harry Potter series. Exactly.
Yeah, because she wrote them for adults and children to read.
Right. Now, name me a black book series that has franchised into a movie, a $1 billion movie series.
Iceberg Slim.
well, that's a book. They haven't made a movie of it yet, though.
I've seen plenty of documentaries, but I was being funny, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. Tyler Perry. No, that's.
Well, James Baldwin. You got Alice Wall. I mean, there's Zora Neale Hurston. There's a lot of, but see, those are older books, obviously.
Well, how about this? When you go to a young mother and you mention a James Baldwin, they don't even know who you're talking about.
And I said, you know, especially if you're a writer and you are, or any, I think everybody should read James Baldwin.
Yeah,
Everybody should. It's beautiful work.
absolutely. The autobiography of Malcolm X. The first 30 pages of that had me in tears.
Yeah, I read it when I was 19.
Yeah, I read it when I was super young.
Yeah.
So, but it's just things like that. So, so in kind of closing, this is not just about the single mother and the single mothers choosing motherhood. As a man on this program, I'm going to say this to the young men. Is she choosing motherhood because you're not stepping up as a man and giving her that option to be there like you promised her when you got in her drawers?
Well, I mean, this is multifaceted, as we just discussed. There's levels to it. Is that, you know, women aren't being taught values by their moms. Like, hey, don't let nobody who ain't trying to marry you smash. And, you know, I'm 50 years old, and I always say that. And, you know, sometimes people are like, what? You know, what you waiting for? I just always been that way. You can't just be late. I don't even know how to put this in words, but I'm not just lying down with any old dude.
Thank you.
I don't need it that bad to where I'm just gonna be having a revolving door of dudes. Just
yeah, I think the young people call it carousel.
Yeah, I love me, honey. Yeah, you just be jumping up and down on me. You got to be somebody.
You know, and then where are we as a society, or forget the society, as a community, to where when a girl does become a single mother, one of her first options is to go to the poll. What other group does that?
Well, you know, they got the white girls strip clubs. And
yeah, but I'm talking about within us, though. I mean,
well, you know, we just need to, and I'm speaking as a Black mama. You know, y'all see my gray hairs popping out. I'm just speaking as a Black mama, is that we need to do a better job at raising the ladies.
Yeah,
at teaching our girls to be ladies and everything in between.
Wait. See right there? That's already being done. You guys are teaching the ladies and you're loving the sons. And this is why these boys are where they're at today, because that's mama baby. What, you know, oh, he ain't got to do nothing. He's just laying up in the crib. But you teach
the question though is, we teaching the ladies, but what are we teaching them?
There it is, right there.
That's what we need to ask. And is it conducive teachings,
right,
to raise a nation? Because a nation can rise no higher than its woman. And if our women are doing things that are gutter, then we're not gonna rise higher than the gutter. It's just a fact.
So real quick, we got about 5 minutes left. You got these young girls now out here, single mothers. They're all single mothers. They're getting BBLs and they're objectifying themselves and all this stuff. Well, what is your take on that?
Well, I wouldn't say all of them are doing that.
We're not absolute.
There's quite a few. All of enough of them, I guess, doing. I mean, you know, if you want to do that to your body and you have the means to do that, then I guess. But I'm like, when we gonna start doing BBLs on our minds? That's what I want to know. Because, you know, you cute, sister. Yeah, sister, you got the small waist and a big giant ball of collar booty. You know, your boobs, you got all that going on, sis. But when did you tighten up your brain? Did you tighten up your mind? Did you put some new information in there? Or are you raising other little girls to think, well, that's perfection. Let me go on and get me a bit. Now, listen, I ain't saying nothing wrong with the BBLs, okay? But I'm saying there's more to life. And then we get, I was having a conversation with a dude earlier.
Little booties need love too.
But then we get mad that these men are objectifying us, you know, because, and then it's like, because inadvertently we're teaching these men, well, hell, if it don't look like this, then it's unacceptable. Where, you know, I'm always like, where the men that like natural women who are, you know, cool, like you said, well, maybe a little booty, or she got some stretch marks, and most women do, you know, and you know, a little cellulite, and I'm like, that's natural, but it's like, you know what I'm gonna watch today? The Eye of the Beholder. I keep saying I'm gonna watch that on Twilight Zone.
Yeah, Eye of the Beholder.
It speaks to what we're seeing today.
Yeah. And the reason I brought that up is because you sent me a picture of a grandmother on Facebook, and you know, it was appalling. It was appalling. And you brought up a good point. If this is how this person is doing this, what is her daughter or her granddaughter seeing?
And I would say this, she was a grandma, and it was just like, why are you doing this, sis? And I don't want to say what she doing, because she might watch this. I don't know. I don't think she will.
No, she doesn't.
Because I'm not going to put it on Facebook. But she took a picture, and she had on all clothes, it's a really tight clothes, and I believe she's probably had a BBL. I don't know.
Yeah, she's attractive.
With her legs gapped open, accentuated her Kit Kat, and took a picture and uploaded it to Facebook. And I was just like, why?
Why?
That's why I said we need to do BBLs on our minds. Like, what was you bored? And you said, let me just drop down and get my eagle on and take a picture of it.
Yeah,
Facebook.
Now let me ask you this: was this grandmother? Is she married?
Yeah, she married.
And she's taking pictures like that.
Yeah.
Do you think her husband approves of that?
I think her husband is probably a beta simp.
Okay.
I wanted to call him something else, but I'm a lady.
Because the reason I bring that up, ladies, is because if you're married, is it acceptable in your mind? I mean, just using your own common sense, your own value system, do you think your husband would appreciate you posting yourself as if you were a single and available woman? What do you think?
And I want to say this. I hope that I would be with somebody so gangster, okay? Because I'd be turned on by that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, a lot of
y'all. If I ever thought about doing something like that, if he like, you don't get your black ass, and you know what I'm saying? I think you should be with somebody who's like, first of all, as a lady with a man, I wouldn't want to do nothing like that.
That's what I'm saying. You already got a man, so why?
Let's say I was like that. I would hope that he would be like, listen, all bets are off, baby. If I got to say something to you about that again, you know what I mean? Like, don't you ever, because when you putting yourself out there, you putting me out there, because they questioning you, but they really questioning me. Like, what kind of man would be cool with his wife doing that?
Right. And let's go to celebrity style. Look at the problems Kanye was having every time Kim would post.
Yeah, and he would say he didn't like it, and I think eventually maybe she stopped.
Yeah, she did stop for a minute.
It's like, why are you trying to lure? Like, what is this?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. You talk about there's not enough men out here, and y'all cheating on each other. You women are competing to get these limited men out here. Then you got one. See, this is what I don't understand as a man. You got a man. So what are you competing against? What you got a man? Because
I don't care what nobody says. If you got a man and you a grandmama and you doing all that on the internet, you have low self-esteem, and you're looking for the accolades and the approval of people you don't even know, opposed to the man you was laying next to. Right. And then you got to have low self-esteem where you getting a part, and that's not just for women, men too. And that's why I say the internet, y'all gonna have to get me started. The internet has no power on its own. We give it power. And so there's a lot of relationships that get broken up because there are men, and I'm gonna speak about the men. Men get their ego stroked. Somebody, and then you leave something that's real and true over something that's fake and phony. And I say this a lot, and I know I'm on the internet, but I hate the internet. If I wasn't on here working on the internet, I wouldn't be on the internet. The internet is a liar. It is, a fraud. It's just like so many things, and it's become a vehicle for people to just do the absolute most. And there's so many good relationships ruined over a facade of what you think is a one-dimensional here. Yeah. You don't know what's on the other side of that. You dudes out there probably falling in love with a dude.
Yeah, exactly. So in conclusion, with the single women choosing single motherhood, what do you got to say about that?
I would just say, use wisdom. Use wisdom. If you don't see yourself being with that person, that man, I'm speaking from what my mothers, if forever, and you don't see, he's not put a ring on your finger, because that right there shows the seriousness. It's a contract, okay?
Yeah. What's the goal? Yeah.
It's a contract, and then You think about having babies once y'all done hopped over the broom, and that's when the baby discussion come in, because now there's more incentive for him to stay around. I'm not saying it works, but it's more incentive for him to stay around, and it's more incentive for y'all to do things right. But it's hard to make somebody stick around after you done had the baby. It's hard. Do it right first.
Yeah, especially with the postpartum and the things that you ladies go through. You guys go through a lot. And then I can say, because I was in the military, I wasn't initially there when my son was an infantile, because I'm flying airplanes and I have to sleep or I won't be coming back the next day for the rest of that child's life.
Right.
So I could see where she was getting frustrated with that. But men, we have to step up and make better decisions too. Ladies and young men, if you come from an environment to where it is poverty stricken and what we call poverty stricken, you have to look at yourself and make a decision and saying, by bringing this child into this world, is this going to better my life? Is this going to incentivize me? Or is it going to condemn me to continual poverty? And not only me, the child itself. That's what you got to think about.
Absolutely, brother. So we said a mouthful today, went a little bit over, but that's okay. This is a good conversation, everybody. I hope to find some value in. So again, you guys, thank you so much for being here. Of course, we have a Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, and you can find this podcast on iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spreaker, and Spotify under the Demetra K Show, or Demetra K. You can put that in. There's only one Demetra K that I can think of. So anyway, always, thank you for being here, Donovan. There is no Demetra K Show without Donovan, the recovering Democrat today, Saadiq. So anyway, we will see y'all around. You guys, please.
And real quick, I mean to cut you off. I'm sorry when I do that. We need to do a part 2 to this. We need to do a part 2 to this, because there's so many elements to this. And I think next time we need to do the man element of why we are out there doing what we're not supposed to be doing when we can't afford it.
Let's do it on Tuesday, brother.
All right, let's do that.
So anyway, y'all, we will see y'all later. You guys have a great day. And please like and share and subscribe if you haven't already. And become a member if you want to do that.